The BumbleKast is for entertainment purposes only. The host's comments and opinions, and those of their guests, are wholly their own and do not represent that of any other entity. Content is provided as is, with no guarantees of accuracy or timeliness.
It's a BumbleKast Mini, sponsored by Heel Navi.
It's a Drogun Mini!
Oh, darn.
I knew you would be disappointed, Ian.
Heartbroken.
Uh-huh. Congratulations on Drogun Volume 1. I loved it to pieces. Kyle's sticking into calling the fans Droguners, or Gooners for short, and I wear that badge with pride. Your questions today will be in the spirit of gooning, deeply concerned with physicality and raw emotion. Ian, can we get an empathetic goon day to all us gooners out here in the ether? I didn't make that up, by the way.
I know.
I was not the first one to coin that term, although I thought it. I did not say it out loud until someone else did. And I'm like, well, all right, here it is. We're going.
And it's a valuable lesson here at the very beginning in that you cannot control the fan base. I personally would not want to go the route that they have gone, but it's in good fun.
Yes.
It is not derisive, which I appreciate. So by virtue of that and the fact that Navi gave us money, good day, everyone.
Thank you, Ian. The theocracy of Galaxant has been shown to use artist renditions of Drogun in their media. How does the abstract government-controlled idea of the holy beings influence Galaxant's fashion and beauty standards? Obviously, there's Humi representation, but I want to know what non-Humi elements have had cultural impact. Sharp teeth, black sclera, being huge dragons.
Part of it is
Humi. Humi. Is it Humi?
Humi.
Okay, but it's Humeheim?
Humeheim, yes.
Okay.
Humi. Think humid without the consonant at the
end.
Humi. Galaxant, specifically the Pillar of Reverence, very much controls what imagery is put out, what artifacts are made for public consumption, and what religious iconography is given to the public. And they keep this very fine line of keeping it unreachable and reverent while also making sure that it defines everything else. So it does not necessarily have an overt impact on the day-to-day styles or the current pop culture, but it does inform pretty much everything behind the scenes. A lot of imagery and themes that are taken for granted come from these messages that are just baked into everything. So the average human walking down the street isn't necessarily walking in religiously appropriate attire, but it is fairly uniform. It is fairly standard. Everyone's going to be following the fashion trend because that uniformity, that obedience is just kind of expected. This is what everyone's doing right now, so we're going to get in line. There you go. The various species across the realms identify with the Drogun in their own ways, work them into their own cosmology, but don't necessarily see it as directly affiliated with them as the Humi do, with the exception being the Orgusks. The Orgusks, or at least some within them, see themselves as the true descendants because they have more features that seem to correlate to the official imagery. And there are other parallels that they cite saying, well, no, it's pretty clear that we were supposed to be the chosen folks. It's the Humi that robbed us, and we don't really buy the story by the Forever King saying that he was put on the throne. Seems a little sus, but when you're scraping by day to day, it's kind of hard to overthrow the tyrannical government dictating your every waking moment.
It's a little too real, Ian.
Yeah, I'm growing increasingly distressed about how all this fanciful, extreme stuff that I'm coming up with is hitting too many overt parallels these days. But you know what? Screw it. It's my story. I'm going to write it the way I want to. Reality can get behind me.
Good. Ian previously mentioned that the Droff have similarities to Mass Effect's Asari, and I could have sworn that included their universal attractiveness to any species. How does that ubiquitous appeal square with Galaxant's xenophobic propaganda? Does the government openly slander Droff beauty, or do they operate more with dog whistles and stereotyping?
More with hypocrisy.
Mm-hmm.
They'll push maybe Hume and Humeheim beauty standards as this is the pinnacle, this is what we advertise with, but everybody's going to take a second look at that Droff walking down the street.
Including them.
Maybe, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. The hypocrites are the loudest of all.
Well, yeah.
And part of it is meant to be a very on-the-nose critique of and it's not just Mass Effect. We see this in a lot of sci-fi.
Yep.
Here is the universally beautiful, traditional feminine species that just happens to be pansexual so that everyone can get with it. And it's tiresome to see it so much. So, you know what? No. In my universe, it's all rock people.
Good.
They may not even be traditionally humanoid, but you know what? It's universally appealing in my world because I find that entertaining on multiple levels.
Good.
The thing is, I also want to be careful with this because I don't want it to become parody, and I don't want it to signify that otherness is inherently unattractive, because it's not. It's more so meant to be that I'm not falling into the traditional tropes that you see in sci-fi and fantasy and science fantasy.
Mm-hmm. All right. The Nerman and Orgusk seem to be on the bottom of the Galaxant civility hierarchy. Which one does state propaganda more ruthlessly demonize? The non-humans or the backwards primitive culture?
They both get those labels. Let's not split hairs on it.
Mm-hmm.
The Orgusks, though, are the more, I don't want to say demonized, but they are more aggressively othered. They are seen as the dangerous or aggressive foreigners within their own government. Whereas the Nerman are treated as more of an oddity, a mystical thing. Look at these strange and beautiful and odd creatures. And the Nerman are like, you walk on land, that's pretty darn odd.
You're weird.
Kicky legs instead of tails. What is wrong with you people? So it's disparaging either way, but it's a little different between the two.
Mm-hmm. All right, next question. Foreign's final design struck me as a bit gangly, but when he's shirtless in Volume 1, he clearly has a thick neck and amazing traps. Almost like his wardrobe is designed to make him look slimmer. What are the social norms for beauty for each species? Do Ajay and Enchanti have a tendency towards Galaxant's norms since their realms have been subjugated for so long?
There is certainly some influence, but I feel like they are more individually unique within their realms. Humeheim standards are very similar to what we would see in Western culture here. Call that lazy. I call it what I'm going with. Ajayheim, they look for primarily coat luster, length, style, and this will vary by individual races within them, but primarily if you have a good coat and a strong tail, you are appealing. Among the Orgusks, it's all about the plumage. How many feathers you have, how brightly colored they are, how well they're styled and maintained. It's all about the plumage. Nerman, there are so many different Nerman I cannot define. It's if you look healthy and you've got a clear patterning to you, that's the most universal thing I can give you with the Nerman. The Enchanti are also super diverse in their appearance, but they, among all the species, are the most driven by physical aesthetics. And this comes down to wing size and shape and patterning, personal colorization, size. You can't be too tall. You can't be too short. You can't have too much of an exoskeleton showing. The more Hume-like, I suppose, but also the most flamboyant's not the right word. The most eye-catching visually you are, the more you are likely to be successful in that society. And Droff overall, that's kind of a general pass. Like, yeah, that's Droff. Even a 5 out of 10, and the Droff is like an 8 out of 10 for everybody else. It's just something about them. That being said, there is a bit of a schism within Droff culture where there are those who prefer to be as they form naturally, and those who go through a process called polishing, where they sand down or otherwise make their forms more unified to be gleaming or glossy or to have inlays of precious metals or stones or whatever. And there's a lot going on behind that. But suffice to say, the polishers see themselves as seizing their own destinies and, beautifying themselves as individual pieces of art, while the more naturalist group are like, we are perfect the way we are. Why are you changing yourself for anybody else's visual consumption? And there's a bit of debate within the Drow culture to be had there.
All I say is you cannot define the general porpoise, Nerman.
No, I suppose I can't. I could, but I'd have to jump through a few hoops.
Wind seems like a creature almost entirely ruled by her id, and Ian's comment on looks suggests he's similar. Which desires and impulses are easiest and hardest for each to control?
Yes.
Okay.
The 7 deadly sins is more of a checklist for either of them, but in Wind's case, it's an understanding of her role within the crew, within the greater cosmos, and aspiring to be better. She is very impulsive, but she wants to do right by the crew and by anyone else in general. She doesn't want to hurt anybody. She doesn't want to wrong anybody necessarily, unless they got it coming, in which case, she'll put you through a wall, but you deserve it. So,
Mm-hmm.
Looks is only restrained by the fact that he is supposed to obey the law publicly. And if there's nobody looking, or if there's a good chance he can get away with whatever it is, he's going to do it, because there's only one person in the cosmos that he really has to answer to. And they get along pretty well.
All right. In a previous BumbleKast, it's mentioned that the Orgus youth have latched onto a new trend: imported romance novels. I really hope this detail shows up in a future volume, because several friends and I find this adorable and heartbreaking. They're my favorite species in the setting now. They deserve better. Do the elders try to understand the new slang, Riz, Gyat, Slashfic, Omegaverse, forming from this subculture, or do they simply shake their heads with solemn disapproval?
It's going to depend on the matriarch and the matrons of each clan. Some are more open-minded, if it isn't so much, understand the youth of today, it's understand this trash that's coming in from the outside, prepare, know thy enemy type of thing.
Okay.
Some are very uptight about it. You are not allowed to use these strange, idiotic terms. You are not allowed to consume this foreign nonsense. You're going to stick to tradition, and you're going to like it. And then there's some that just embrace it. This elderly, wise, and leader of the clan, and she's going along with a bodice ripper along with all the kids. They have a read-along to the latest romance novel.
I'm glad they won't take any of Foreign's nonsense, at least.
Yeah.
What physical or emotional traits do Wind, Foreign, Looks, Ambrew, and Eco find attractive? Joboon's chill. No need to ask.
That's right. Wind wants someone who is true to themselves, I guess, ultimately. Someone who is upfront and honest, even if it's confrontational. She just likes honesty upfront. Foreign likes driven and stable individuals, someone who has their act together, someone with a vision for the immediate and long-term future, but isn't solely fixated on objectives, someone who is compassionate, someone who is, gosh, I really need to be careful how I word this without spoiling book 4. He has someone very much particular in mind. We'll leave it at that.
It's a long way from now for book 4, Ian. I think most people would forget.
I'm working on 3 number right now, okay?
Okay, well, first you got to put out 2.
I talk too much. I know this. I
know.
say things that I shouldn't. I know this. I need to be careful. Looks, what does your emotion or feelings matter? If he likes you or wants something from you, then he'll take it. That's all there is to it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he knows how to manipulate to get what he needs. He understands that people have feelings and that relationships can be played against each other. But as far as their value in his eyes, they're commodities. their chess pieces on the board to ultimately move to his benefit. He is a vile, bad man. Ambrew has no idea. He is a babe in the woods. He is so socially inexperienced. I don't even know if he would know how to answer that question. The concept has not occurred to him at all. And Echo wants independence. The idea of getting too close to anybody just does not jive with her. So anybody who gives her space, who respects her autonomy, and lets her do things her way, she's cool with them.
Alrighty. In a previous BumbleKast, Ian mentioned that in the event of the Fortune's Lap overheating, Wind would strip off all her clothes, if not for Foreign's insistence on social graces. But how? I can see him winning the bottoms argument, but kids can be really stubborn. How soon after Wind hatching did they first have this argument, and how did Foreign convince that stinking gremlin to wear her damn clothes? Also, please weigh in on how adorable hatchling Wind was.
Adorable?
Uh-oh.
Depends on, I mean, she would have said she was. Cute as a button, if you will. Foreign and Joe would probably agree that it was just a gremlin. Like just hair and teeth and noise until, I don't know, 10 years later. When it starts counting on her fingers. Wait, that's now. Mm-hmm.
Wait, is she only 10?
Technically. Drogunin are weird.
She ages faster, I'm guessing.
Well, like Lissy, she was born as like an 8-year-old.
Oh, okay.
Which...
That's weird, but okay.
It's not standard for Drogun, but kind of is.
Okay.
We're talking long term. Point is, she was born well past... She was born a child.
Okay.
And was fast-tracked to her teen years, more or less. So, but as that child, Lissy is inquisitive and helpful and just delightful little cinnamon roll. Wind was not. Wind was hungry and angry and cranky and bossy and into things. And that pretty much dispelled any illusion of what the gods truly were in Foreign and Joblin's eyes. It kills me because I really want to go back and tell that story of her first hatching and how it happens and what all the crew went through up to finding Lissy. But there is so much story to be had there that it would be another 10 years before we got to the main story, which just came out. So it's like, I have to start the story somewhere, and it can't be at the very, very beginning because there's always a new beginning.
Maybe you can do some flashbacks here and there. Who knows? Peeking
certainly
behind
the
curtain a little bit.
I mean, I haven't been plotting short stories in the background anywhere.
No, of course
Heaven
not.
forbid.
No.
Because I don't need another writing project. No. Anyway,
no.
Suffice to say, it took a few weeks, if not a few months, for them to come to an understanding that outside time is closed time. Waking time is closed time.
Mm-hmm.
Bath time is not closed time. Don't get... You're going to soak... Okay, you know what? We're going to do laundry at the same time. That's fine. This is manageable.
Okay. Perfect. Oh, Ian, you got to read this one.
Oh, yep. So I do. The last question is for you, Kyle. You encouraged this, and so you must answer the ultimate question. Who amongst the cast would make the greatest Final Fantasy Dragoon? Everyone knows Foreign is the number one gooner. He'd be the fantastic Sir Fratley cosplayer, but I'm taking him off the table. Ian can answer too.
Okay. I'm going to say looks, because, I mean, that Dragoon armor is pretty sick, and so looks in that armor would be pretty sick.
You know what? You're right.
Yep. I think that's the answer. Is it the only answer? Not really, but what's up?
You're also going to see stuff in the future and like, oh, Ian totally intended this. I'm like, sure I did.
Well, don't worry about it.
Just saying, I'm thinking very long term.
Okay.
You know me.
Yes. All right, that's going to do it for this BumbleKast Mini.
Thank you to Heel Navi for sponsoring this BumbleKast Mini. If you want one of your own, head over to patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, or become a YouTube member. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, go read Drogun, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
See ya.